around this time on Tuesdays, and we're always waiting to hear if he'll say anything interesting, and he most certainly did. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan just said it is likely that Dak Prescott is going to go on injured reserve with his hamstring injury that will sideline him for a minimum of 4 weeks. This is obviously extremely significant as the Cowboys season in this moment hangs in the balance. Dan Graziano, as we sort of consider that, they're going to start Cooper Rush this week in their game. Yep. There's a talk about the possibility of Trey Lance here, but again,
he's there as well.
Enormous breaking news. Dak Prescott likely to go on IR. We wondered how bad is the injury. Obviously, it's bad enough that he is going to miss a significant chunk of time.
At least 4 games by rule. And obviously, you know, we've talked all about that Cowboys schedule and the tough teams they have coming up and try and beat them with Cooper Rush. We'll see if they end up using Trey Lance. Like, he's got some things he can do with his legs. I don't know if they'll start him or if they'll just find ways to use him. But, yeah, they have to patch it together. Not sure they're going to have CeeDee Lamb this week either because, you know, of his injury.
You're looking at the three.
Sell! Sell!
Well, I mean, that is the thing. And you're going to hear from Jerry Jones saying they're actually going to go the opposite direction from selling. Right. Yeah. And I'll get that in a minute. But let's just consider this. So we have talked about their season like it's over. Yeah. But obviously, they can't approach it that way. But you're 3-5, and you've just lost your quarterback for a minimum of 4 weeks. I mean, they're done. The Cowboys are done.
They feel like they're done. I think they could potentially point to like the Malik Willis situation with the Packers and say we thought their season over and they bounced back. But the difference there is I think that the Packers have a more flexible coach that's going to create things, and this is where the pressure really falls on the coaching staff that's here to figure out something.
Packers literally fired the current Cowboys coach to hire the current Packers coach. Yeah, that's not quite the same.
3-5. This is their upcoming schedule, and they'll have to do it without Dak Prescott.
Yeah, it's over. Dak Prescott was your only real chance, and even that was so slim. Go get some good draft picks. Don't draft 16th. I mean, sit them. Let's sell. Let's get some book restructured. Let's find some things and let's move on for next year. They made all the mistakes screening in the offseason, and they couldn't overcome them. Do better now. Get this thing structured where you have a good chance next year. I mean, Zeke, he didn't even travel. Like this
not showing up to meetings.
Yeah, this thing is off the rails, y'all. It's way worse than we were talking about. But it's not fixable this season.
The worst part is it's worse than they think it is. Right? Like that's the biggest problem they're facing right now is they probably
keeps getting shocked.
Yeah. Well, so I'm being told literally in my ear as we're talking here the other things that Jerry is saying. This interview is going on in Dallas as we speak. He just said definitively we are not selling.
Right.
And he actually specified what it is they might go out and acquire, meaning trading for a wide receiver. I think I have that. Let's play it.
Me, when I look ahead, I see that improving. I think we can do some things. We're going to bring a receiver in more than likely today that we've really have thought a lot of and wanted to draft him, and so we're going to get a chance to get him.
So that is Jerry saying on the radio that they maybe will trade today for a receiver they liked when he was coming out in the draft. We don't know who that is. I don't even know that we could speculate.
We could speculate. The receiver, like Carolina's guys, Jonathan Mingo. You know, there's receivers that could be on the move today. Mike Williams from the Jets could still be moved, but pure speculation in terms of who he's talking about.
This is why the owner doesn't need to have a weekly radio show.
He's
because the GM doesn't. GMs don't need to have weekly radio shows either, because I understand the things that you have to say in your locker room. Those are different from the way that you need to run this organization. So, that to me, this doesn't make sense as a strategy going forward for this team.
I mean, he also just said, by the way, he expects CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, and Zeke Elliott all to play this weekend. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about where this team is, whether it's Zach Martin or Diggs or
Brandon
Cooks. Lawrence.
Marcus Lawrence.
These guys should go get. I mean, I know they're banged up, Cooks and Lawrence especially, but if they can come off the IR. This team is not, with Dak being injured for 4 and going on IR, you're talking about 4 weeks, they're basically bringing in a receiver because CeeDee Lamb is hurt and Cooks is hurt. So you are trying to Band-Aid a situation that is out of control, and that you don't realize that it's this out of control is a major issue. And to yours, you're going to go in the locker room and talk about, hey, we're going all in this year. You're probably the third best team in your division right now. Maybe not even third. You're third best.
Yeah, third best.
It's ugly, man. I mean, I don't know what he's. Golly, yeah. If you're a Cowboys fan, this hurts.
Here's the problem. Here's where so many things come into play at one time, and this is where it really all bites them directly in the behind, which is that the person who overestimated how good they were going to be is him.
Right.
He's the one who was both signing the checks and making the decisions.
That's
when
right.
the entire world told him all through the offseason, you don't have it right, you don't have it right, you don't have it right, he wanted to be able to say, see, I told you. And so now he won't acknowledge that he had it all wrong. They got their offseason entirely wrong.
Yes.
Their season is done. They are hopelessly out of it. They are 3-5 and have lost their quarterback. Going out and trading anything for a wide receiver is a huge mistake. I mean, maybe if some minor deal so they can field the roster this weekend. If they should be trading away big pieces.
Right. If it's a receiver that can be helpful for them for the next 3 to 4 years, then it's a good move. So I will say the scariest or the most off-putting part about the situation is that Jerry Jones is making the decisions, because if you look at the roster, they have Micah Parsons, a player that is great, a defensive player of the year caliber player. That's a centerpiece to build a defense around. They have a quarterback and a true number one receiver.
That's right.
These are three of the most difficult things to find for a championship contender. The rest of the stuff is stuff that's not easy, but it's much easier if you're having a rebuild. This is like a 2-year potential. You're back in it if you have someone who is smart and has foresight and can make the right decision. The problem is I'm not sure that they have that anymore if they ever did.
Right. And receivers, they come to you in droves now.
Yes.
You have a decent drafting space. You're getting a good receiver. While you're going up and trading for, what are you trading? If it's
late
future,
round pick,
go get it.
Again, also, go out and find me the team that has the highest paid player in the league at 3 different positions and show me how that tends to work out. I know Micah Parsons is a great player. I'm not diminishing his dominance on the defensive side, because he is all of that.
He is.
But if you're going to pay Dak $60 million, you're going to pay CD Lamb $35 million. I do not think you can pay Micah Parsons $36 million and continue to field a roster. Like, you just can't do it. No team does it.
Yeah,
you know what the smart teams do? They make painful decisions sometimes. Kansas City let Tyreek Hill go. He was on pace to be one of the most productive receivers in NFL history, and they let him go, and they've won back-to-back championships since.
Yeah, it looks like a genius move now, but I think there are a lot of other factors that they weren't like, hey, we don't want Tyreek Hill anymore. There are a lot of other factors that went into the decision.
They had to make a difficult decision.
Right. I agree, and you have to make difficult decisions. I don't think that getting rid of Micah Parsons or any of those 3 guys would be a good difficult decision, given that they're all at the positions that it seems like in a modern NFL you need more than any.
Positions you want.
I'm just told, and Dan, you were on it, that the Cowboys have just traded for Jonathan Mingo.
How about that?
How about that from Graziano?
So that's a guy that the Panthers drafted a couple years ago when they had a different front office and coaching staff. Doesn't necessarily fit with their plans right now. He's been available. Young player that hasn't been used much in Carolina.
Well, now that I know that, I've changed everything I just said. Obviously, the Cowboys are going to come roaring back and become a playoff contender this year behind the combination of Cooper Rush